Hey guys, welcome back to And Sometimes Why, and today we are going to be talking about endgame scenarios in basketball. And yes, I got a haircut. Thanks for noticing. If you like that intro, don't forget to like and subscribe. I put a lot of work into that intro. It took almost a minute of filming that I'll never get back in my life. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new and enjoy the video. Hey guys, I thought it would be a fun idea if I put some of my 2K highlights over some of this video. And then there's also going to be some NBA footage in here for educational purposes, obviously. But let me know if you guys like it. A lot of the ideas from this video that I'm going to be talking about come from this book, The Midrange Theory by Seth Partnow. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to him before I go into the first scenario, which is you're down 2 with 15 seconds left. In this scenario, you have the ball. You're down 2 with 15 seconds left. What should you do? A lot of times you hear the announcers go, they don't need a 3 here. When in fact, you don't need a 3, but a 3 would usually be better. And I'll explain why. The crux of my argument is going to be win probability, where if we look in this chapter from Seth Partnow, a made 3 with 15 seconds remaining, now you're up 1. You have a win probability of 62.5%. But did I get that wrong? 62.4. Okay. 62.4%. And if you tie the game with a 2, the probability that you win is 37.5%. Now you'd be like, wait, what? The game's tied. Well, if we say overtime's 50-50, that's if you get a stop. The other team has 15 seconds to hold it for the last shot and take a game-winning shot. When you are up by 1, the other team could still make that shot. But not only do you usually avoid overtime unless you foul them and they make 1 out of 2 or 3 free throws, you are also giving yourself the scenario where when they miss, you win. In the other scenario, if the other team makes the shot, you lose regardless. This is kind of like going for 2 down 8. I'll explain a little bit more. You would say, well, why would you just chuck up a 3? No. Don't chuck up a 3. There's some math behind this. In this scenario, according to Seth Partnow, for a 2 to be as valuable as a 3, you would need to be able to make a 2 55% of the time. And that would be the same value as a 3 that you make 30% of the time. Because if you miss that shot, you could also miss the 2, depending on what shot you take, unless you're taking a layup. But I would imagine the team that's up by 2 doesn't want you to take a layup. They're going to be defending that pretty well. So in most cases, obviously, don't chuck up something stupid. That's not a 30% 3. But a 3 that you make 30% of the time will be just as valuable as a 2 that you can make 55% of the time. And a lot of times, the difference between a mid range jumper and a 3 are not that much, depending on how open we are and depending on who's taking it. Remember shot quality. If I'm taking it, I take the 3 every time it's going in. But what else was I going to say? I'm going to make the same argument for avoiding overtime that I did in the NFL than with the NBA. The NBA, it's a long 82 game season. If you can avoid playing an extra 5 minutes where your guys are exhausted, one loss doesn't mean as much in the NBA compared to the NFL. So if you take that 3, let's expand this out. Not even 15 seconds left. Let's say you're down 2 with 5 seconds left. You play to win. not to not lose. You play to win, not to go to overtime. Well, you play to go to overtime, but you play to win. I think I'm just very aggressive in my philosophy for sports because if you can avoid overtime, if you have a chance to win, take it. Especially if it's a good chance. If it's not a stupid, if it's not a stupid prayer three, it's usually going to be the better thing to do. A player that I want to give a shout out to, Knicks fans, Cavs fans, cover your ears, Tyrese Halliburton. He, on multiple occasions, was down by 2 and purposefully dribbled out to take the 3.
Better job of getting open.
Misses. Halliburton the rebound. 9 seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits.
Halliburton. He'll take it. He'll backpedal a 3 for the win. And goal!
In one of those scenarios, his foot was on the line, so they still went to overtime. But the logic there is we could win the game right here. If it's a good enough shot, it's worth it compared to going to overtime. Regular season playoffs is different, but the other scenario that comes to my mind is the Hornets Heat playoff game. Not playoffs, play in, whatever. That game, the Hornets were down by 4 with 20 seconds left. And Brandon Miller took a somewhat contested 3, but I would say not a prayer.
We're down to 22 seconds left. White working around. Miller fires. He fakes it in.
And it went in. The announcer said, you don't need a 3 here. They're down 4 with 20 seconds left. You don't need a 3, but what a 3 does in that scenario is exactly what happened. You're down by 1. You don't have to rely on the other team to miss a free throw. So now you're down by 3 again. You take another 3 if the other team doesn't foul.
Hornets are down by 3. White, turn around. Oh, yeah!
Now, that Kobe White shot was definitely a prayer. So that's going up against my logic, but he was trying to make sure that they wouldn't foul him so that he could tie the game. And if anyone was going to take a prayer shot that night, let it be Kobe White. And then the Heat found themselves down 5 in overtime.
Seconds left in overtime. Get it in. Hero. Oh, tough delivery.
And Tyler Hero comes out and he takes a quick 3 off of the inbound. Now you definitely need a 3 there. And then they get a steal. And instead of going in for the 2, Tyler Hero dribbles out to the 3 to go for the win.
John James stumbles into the table. Miami takes over. 9 seconds left. The jumper's no good. There's a foul.
He gets fouled. He makes all 3 free throws. Sadly, there were 4 seconds left on the clock. And
gets it. 7 seconds. Ball to drive. And ball lays it in. There's no timeouts left for Miami. Charlotte up by 1. The drive. It's over. Mitchell got negated.
LaMelo Ball hit a game-winning layup. And the Heat lost. But in both of these scenarios, the 3s went in. And that was very helpful to both of those teams coming back in a game where it looked like they didn't have a chance. You might still ask me, why do you need the 3? What if there's an easy 2 there? And sometimes there will be, and probably will be the best shot. But in a scenario where you're down 4 points with 20 seconds left, guess what? You're going to lose that game 99% of the time. So taking a 3 and it going in gives you the best chance to win the game. When you're down by 5, when you're down by 2, taking a 3 gives you the best chance to win the game. And that is going to be the same, not throughout all shots, but for any basic 3-point shot. If you can generate a good look at the end of the game, take it. And if it misses, guess what? You were down by 4 in some scenarios. You were down by 4 with 20 seconds left. You were going to lose that game anyway. And if you were down by 2, what if you missed a 2-point shot? You could still miss the 2-point shot. And then if you make the 2-point shot, guess what? The other team can still win in overtime or still take a game-winning shot in regulation. So that doesn't even guarantee the win. So the best thing to do is if it's there, keyword if it's there, take the 3. This isn't sometimes why, and I hope you guys learned something today. See ya.